Welcome to Best of 3, weekly FGC talk show. We're a little bit tired. We just got back from CEO. Hey, Mike, I was noticing in the chat that somebody said, I think Donka is sexy, and then they put a Kappa face.
That pretty much was the worst thing that's happened to me today. Because, I get so high and so low from everything. And that Kappa face just really ruined.
You actually thought you're built up, and I assume you needed to be built up.
I'm not even a mod in the chat, by the way.
Why would you want to be?
Good enough.
I assume you needed the boost in your ego because, wait, remind me, how'd you do at CEO, dude?
So CEO, right, that was a Street Fighter V tournament.
Right, yes, they did play that game there.
It wasn't an Overwatch tournament.
We're going to get into that. But first, guess who we have on the show tonight, audience? None other than the man, the myth, the legend, Miguel Rosas, Mike Ross. He will be on the show later. And not only that, those are the other guys that I'm about to introduce. But not only that, he's going to get a set in with Mike. It's going to be Mike versus Mike later on in the show.
I've got plenty of things to complain about before it even starts.
But now, we're going to introduce our generous co-hosts who lend their time to be on this show for us, for you, for all of us involved. That would be Steve Ace King Off Sue Jurek, who writes for Esports, and none other than John Velociraptor Guerrero, who writes for EventHubs.com.
Hey, I really want to know before we get started here if Mike thinks, or Donka I should call him, thinks that he's going to beat Mike Ross and his Laura, or if he's not confident in it.
See, here's the thing: is that Vega cannot beat Laura.
Oh, for crying out loud!
It's very difficult. If I'm going to win, it's going to be just.
Why are you going to play?
It's going to be a very hard series of reads and outplaying.
You heard it here. What do you think, guys? Who's going to take it at the end of the show?
I think Donka's really good at Street Fighter V, and he's really handsome, and he's probably really good at Overwatch and Kappa.
Oh, you got you with the Kappa, bro. All right. Listen, guys. We're about to get into a Capcom Pro Tour recap, but first, I was standing next to Donka as he was playing his match. Some guy sat next to me says, I just lost to Donka. I've been playing too much Overwatch. Not 30 seconds later, Donka loses his match, stands up, I've been playing too much Overwatch. I'm a little bit concerned.
No, I'm not even joking here, 100% seriously. The new pain of Overwatch really got me for a little bit. It was pretty much all I was playing. I'm not exaggerating when I said I was a huge Street Fighter V labber. And then for like 3 weeks, I did nothing but play Overwatch. I played Street Fighter V once a week or less. It definitely had an impact on the game, but I think that the awesomeness of CEO and the impending awesomeness of EVO will bring us back.
All right, and on that note, let's get to that Capcom Pro Tour recap.
Let's do it. What a show that was. CEO, it was my first CEO in person. It was, from top to bottom, the spectacle was amazing. I mean, no one... Say what you want about Jabali. He knows how to put on a show. The tournament itself delivered as well. You had all these killers coming from Japan, all these killers coming from the rest of Asia. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, take a sip.
I'm just getting choked up thinking about it. You had basically everyone in the United States of note in there. And it was all about, could the U.S. defend home turf? We saw what happened over the last month in Europe where Asian players just dominated in those premier events. Could the U.S. hold up their end of the bargain? No, they could not. It was entertaining and very un-American. You had Taquito finally get his breakthrough over Infiltration in the grand finals. That was probably the best set of Street Fighter V to date.
Yeah, that's actually a fair statement. I don't want to interrupt you there, but I don't think, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but I want to say that moment, or that top 8, but certainly that grand finals, shut everybody up that was saying that this game was boring, or could be boring. But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, you had Taquito and Infiltration 1 and 2, again, third time that's happened on U.S. soil, except the order got flipped. You had Momochi, who won Stunfest, take third. You had Haitani, who's placed top 8 in every single CPT event he has entered so far, in fourth. So really, the top 4, arguably the top 4 players in the game right now. And then behind that, you had Daigo.
I would actually like to note that they were the top 4 seeds as well. As
So
someone
what
who
does
helped
that
to
say to
see the
you?
tournament, it means that the game's consistent.
All right, go on. We got some Daigo clips coming up here for you.
Yeah, we had Daigo. He talked about how unconfident he was for Evo. He looked pretty good to me. He tied for 5th along with Knuckledew, an American player. That's probably the only time I'll be saying that today. And then Nuki and Mago rounding out the top 8.
You know, there's a lot to talk about, but again, I just can't help but keep interrupting you, Steve. We did a ton of interviews while there at CEO, and one of those was with none other than Daigo himself. Really excited about the way that interview turned out. We had Fubar Doug help us translate. It's not out yet, and that's because your boy's the one that cuts them. And besides traveling and prepping for this show today, I haven't really had a chance to dive into it. But keep an eye out for all those interviews. I threw Steve out there. Steve did a ton of these interviews. And he hadn't done it before, so you guys are going to want to see those because he did a great job, and I look forward to sharing those. Daigo. Daigo was there. It was his first event in the Capcom Pro Tour America scene, and, man, it was exciting.
I was personally, and I'll let Steve go on, surprised by how well he did and impressed, especially after his near loss in pools.
Steve, back to you, buddy.
Yes. Well, do you have the overall top 10?
I sure
ready?
do. Oh, you want
All
the CPT standings or the CEO
Yes.
results?
CPT standings, if we could.
There you go.
You look at the top 10, it's the same 10 as last week, but the order's different. Taquito is now in 2nd place. Not only has he locked up a spot in Capcom Cup, but he's only 12 points out of 1st place. So if he goes to G League, which is the next event, and he gets 5th or better, he has a chance to move up into 1st place. That depends on what Infiltration does, who dropped to 3rd overall. And then you also had Momochi and Haitani moving up in the standings.
It was impressive. And, you know, we were a couple of weeks ago, we were like, man, will anybody ever reach Justin Wong's crazy point, hoard that he has there? And, yeah, Taquito's like right there. It's 10 points away.
Well, obviously, I mean, Justin hasn't had a breakout premier event yet, in the sense that he hasn't gotten 2nd, or I don't believe gotten 3rd. So, I mean, that's really where he did get 3rd.
He did get 3rd at NCR.
Yeah, so I mean, but he's going to need more of those to really break ahead of the point count. And frankly, Taquito and Infiltration haven't shown any signs of not taking a whole.
Not to
bunch
mention,
of
but
points
they're
in the
already
tournament.
qualified, though. So I was like, when I look at it now, it's like, okay, if you're qualified, yes, your points matter, but now I'm looking, where everybody else is laying. Steve had a chance to talk to Justin Wong. That's an interview that will be coming out. And a lot of people were saying that he was confident. He said he was feeling good. He didn't call himself the best in the world, but he said he was definitely up there. We also talked to Filipino Man, and he said, I think Justin Wong is the best in the world. And then his performance didn't actually live up to that at the event.
He made, in my opinion, one of the biggest gaffes I've ever seen him make in a game.
Which would be?
Which is directly after the previous round getting punished for the V-trigger Rekka by Super.
Mm-hmm.
He did it again to lose a game that he was winning. And I just have absolutely no idea how that went through his mind. Obviously it was a mistake, but it was very un-Justin-like in a match that he easily could have won.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
Well, like, how do you go to saying, like, that Justin Wong is the best in the whole world? Like, United States, that's a probably, and no one's going to really argue there. But to say something as forward as he's the best in the world when his results worldwide don't match up against a couple of other really, really powerful contenders, like, how do you make that jump? I mean, is anybody else really saying that?
Yeah.
He's up there for sure, and he got...
Yeah.
He hasn't had enough matches, I guess, at least not in tournament, versus the Japanese players to really say one way or another who's definitely better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think best in the world is a bit of a reach. But yeah, certainly, I mean, you can call him in that echelon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and his results, even in premieres, haven't been terrible. Like,
No, they've been great still.
Yeah, he got tied for 17th here, which was his worst one. But he went to final round, that 1,000-man tournament. He got 9th, either 7th or 9th. I forget which one. He went to NCR and got 3rd with as many killers out there as there were. He did pretty well at Red Bull Kumite. So even though he's not arguably number one, I don't think he was number one, but he's certainly... It's not so insane to include him in the conversation as something.
John, I thought you were going to say, how dare they call Justin Wong the best in the world when they haven't seen me play at a Capcom Pro Tour, referring to you, Velociraptor.
I will say that it's taken me some time to find my groove in this game, and I haven't been traveling. But I'm feeling it more than I ever have, and I'm excited to kind of get back into the competitive tournament circuit. I'm going to be going to EVO. That's a great one to kind of kick things off with, right? But no, I'm hoping to get back on the scene more on the competitive side of things instead of just writing about it all the time. But we'll see.
We'll have to wait and see. Guys, we're not done with the Capcom Pro Tour recap. We have winners and losers to talk about. Are we there yet?
We are there.
All right, let's hear it.
I got to start with Taquito.
That's your first winner?
That is my first winner for sure. You look at not only that he won, not only that he secured a spot, because realistically he had enough points to basically say he's in there anyway, but the way he did it. First of all, who he went through. He went through Daigo, Haitani, Momochi, Infiltration, and Infiltration again to get that title. If you go to any tournament and run through that list of names, you deserve to be champion. And really the only thing that had stopped him is more of a mental thing than a talent thing. You knew he was good enough to beat all these players, but every single event leading up to this, he either got second or third. Now that he has this win, now that he's gotten that monkey off his back, who's going to stop him?
Well, Steve, when you say that, I want to know, like, do you feel like he could be the best in the world, having just had that conversation a little bit?
I think
he is right now, isn't he?
If you ask me right this second, I'd have to pick Taquito in a tournament if you were running Evo right now. But realistically, I don't think in terms of number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I think in terms of tiers. There's a top tier where they're going to be favored against pretty much anyone except whoever else is in that tier. I have Taquito in that tier. I have Momochi in that tier. I have Infiltration and Haitani, all 4 of those guys in that tier. Daigo I don't think is there quite yet.
Not quite,
but,
yeah.
But if he continues to improve the way he's improving, he'll be there for sure.
I saw Taquito, they were chilling by the side of the stage there, and I swear to God, he was handwriting notes. And he was on his knees on the ground, looking down at these papers, jotting, flipping back, going through his term paper or something. I don't know what he was doing.
And what was interesting to me was I actually was watching Daigo look at video footage, and before Top 64 started, he was watching Haitani. But his first match in Top 64 wasn't Haitani. His second match in Top 64 would have been Haitani. It was his third match.
Oh, wow.
Which is exactly how confident he was that he was going to get that far, or at least that he felt his roadblock was indeed Haitani.
Yeah, he said that before, though. I believe within the last week or two, he said Haitani is the hardest match for me. He's my demon right now, and he's giving me the most trouble. And obviously the results are saying that too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that player of the top tier, of the top 8, of the top whatever Street Fighter players is, in my opinion, the most different.
You're saying Haitani?
Yes.
We're using Nikali?
He plays in such a read-heavy style, and such a crazy read-heavy style, that it's really hard to prepare for a lot of players, and you saw that. And definitely he's been losing to the same guys in each tournament and not anyone below him.
Who's our next winner?
I got to go with Daigo. He tied for 5th. It wasn't a huge help to him in terms of the standings, but in the context of his confidence heading into Evo, he said he didn't feel ready. And you look at how he did this weekend, he still lost to Haitani, but he played that match very close. He lost very close to Taquito, but I don't think there was anyone who was beating Taquito at that point in the tournament. He did get a win over Mago. And then in the interview we conducted, he said he felt very satisfied with his performance. So a confident Daigo is a scary Daigo. And he's not necessarily tearing the world apart right now with his results, but he's not that far away from returning to that status he had in 2009, 2010 when he was just the guy and everyone else was just far back.
Can I say something about what I saw Daigo in his match against Taquito? You had Ryu, and 2 of the best Ryus in the world right now. Just real quick, Taquito was very rushed down. He's in your face, and we're all pretty familiar with Taquito's tournament Street Fighter V Ryu style. But Daigo was very much more defensive and calculated, as we normally see Daigo do. And usually we talk about the download round that he'll take. He'll kind of measure his opponent, and then once he figures it out, he just goes in, and everything he does works, and he's unstoppable. We've heard him talk about how he's not quite ready for Evo yet. What I think it's all slowly coming together, and the potential that Daigo has with his style is terribly scary. I don't know that he'll be ready for Evo yet, but when it finally all clicks together, and when the Street Fighter V Daigo becomes basically reaches his full potential, it's going to be very, very hard to stop him. And I think, especially in that match against Tokido, we saw the beginnings of that.
And I'd like to add to that there was a very specific match that triggered the same thoughts in my head, which was him versus Stupendous, where he absolutely, and obviously Zangief is widely considered the worst character in the game. He definitely loses to Ryu. But the way he broke down that match, I honestly don't think Stupendous would have won a match in a first to 10. And that's not because Stupendous is a bad player. He's obviously fantastic. He was one of the highest placing American players with what is widely considered the worst character in the game. But the way he dashed up to punish stand heavy whiffs, the way he didn't throw fireballs in the only ranges he could punish them, you can tell that once he's downloaded a matchup, you really have to play super outside the box and super above his level to even beat him, because he knows everything that's going on.
You just said you have to play super above Daigo's level to beat him. GG's,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's why he's so good across so many different games.
Only Raptor can pull something off like that, Mike.
Pretty much, yeah.
Steve, remind me, what was it that Daigo said with respects to having just seen Tokido win with his character? Was it that he was just going to have to try that much harder, or there was something along those lines?
It lit a fire under him, because it was basically a wake-up call, saying he's not being limited by his character. So if he sees Tokido succeed, there's no reason Daigo shouldn't in his mind.
That seems fair. All right, let's go to our next winner.
Our last winner this weekend, I got to say Street Fighter V. The top 8 especially was amazing. Not only that, you had the reveal that we'll get to afterwards with Jurian, Urian, and Balrog. You had the amazing set between Kenny Omega and Xavier Woods, excuse me. I keep mispronouncing that name. All the excitement, all of the positive vibes around the Street Fighter V tournament here, this game really needed a weekend like that, just to kind of turn the tail of the narrative. Hopefully this can continue on, and hopefully the patch, or the update, excuse me, is a good one. It brings people back, because this game really needs some sort of positive momentum right now.
I briefly contemplated starting the show off with like a Jeopardy-style question, or answer rather, a trailer and a badass top 8, and the question would have been, how do you get everybody back on board with Capcom? Because it really feels like that's what happened.
I mean, yeah, and one interesting thing to me is like how much better animated Balrog is than the rest of the game. Like, can they update everything in the world to look like that character?
He does look pretty sharp.
There's a chance, and it's a little bit too early to tell, but if you look at the few pictures that we've seen of Karen in her new beach costume next to her old one, the hair is a little bit different. It's a little bit finer. Her face shape is a little different. And her lips are a little different. Now, a lot of characters, like you can look at Ken's regular costume and his young costume is from Alpha, and he's got different features too. Like his hair is completely different. So it's not a definite tell that they're going to refine all the characters. Maybe Karen just looks like that in her new costume. But there's a chance that when this whole new thing comes out, or maybe just a few months down the line, we'll see revisions to things like Ken's hair and stuff that people have been talking about. So there's a chance.
How closely are you looking at Karen's lips?
Somebody sent us an email message with a close-up. Shut up,
not
Steve.
Me. It was someone else. It was some other guy.
Subject line for science.
For science.
All right, let's get to some losers.
As you said, the last thing I'll say on that is that I like the way the hype happened, which is that it was very organic from the roots of the game. They didn't need to necessarily apologize for things. They didn't need to necessarily do anything beyond release a further part of the game well. And that's all anyone's asking for. Yeah. We don't want them to we do want them to fix what's wrong with the game, but the fact that what got people hype was just new content is very exciting, and it shows that there is room for people to kind of re-accept Street Fighter V that aren't currently.
Did y'all see that video of L.I. Joy reacting to the trailer?
God,
I saw it in person.
Beautiful.
People were like clearing out of the way, man. It was scary.
Shout outs to the Bestabon. If you've never gone to Hold Back to Block, his YouTube channel, he's got that video up. It's totally worth your time. And that guy's a great shooter, and you should support him anyway. Okay. Did we have any losers this week?
We had about 320 million of them.
Oh, goodness.
All rise for the singing of the United States national anthem. Because we are, honestly, the land of the free right now.
Oh, man.
And, you know, there were
Did you
good...
practice that? Did you practice that before you're like, I'm going to nail this?
No, he practiced singing it, and I've just noticed that he chickened out at the last minute, I think.
Oh, boo.
No one wants to hear that. But, I mean, there were some good individual results outside of Knuckle Dew. You had 3 guys just outside the top 8. Ludovic, Wolf Crone, and Flash, who Flash played really, really well this weekend. Stupendous. This was sort of his rising up party. You know, he made top 16 in a tournament this deep. This guy is going to be a problem going forward. But as a whole, you know, you look at the points. This is the first time in Pro Tour history that a tournament on American soil has had fewer than 2 American players in top 8. You know, Japan took all of the points. Japan took 70% of the points. Asia took another 25%. The United States got nothing out of this weekend. I mean, look, these are some of the top players in the standings, and they all just fell short. Justin Wong just missed top 16. F. Champ just missed top 16. Chris T tied for 25th. Julio missed top 32. PR Balrog missed top 32, although he's got something to smile about this week.
Yeah.
And K-Brad didn't even make it out of pools. You have all these people who, in the hunt for these spots, all of them fell flat this weekend.
Hey, Steve.
I would like to state that 2 Texas players continued to show their high-level play in Rylander and Vagabond, who both tied for Justin Wong with 17th, and have both placed top 32 or higher, top 16, top 8, at every major they've attended thus far.
Remind me how you did?
I placed somewhere in the tournament. And it was my first time not winning my pool.
It was. You told me it was the first time you didn't make it out of pools since 2010.
I think so. In Street Fighter or Marvel, for me to have entered a game and not made it out of pools, it's been a long time. Fire is lit under my ass right now to switch characters, and John's about how bad they are.
Of all the players at CEO, you were one of them.
I was definitely in there, man. I had the badge and everything.
Though, for as far as America goes, and I might be an America fanboy just a little bit, it is a scary look for us, but I would want to see this happen a couple of times at events that are so stacked as CEO was before I'm like, okay, America's that far behind. Yes, we did not have a good showing. No, it wasn't a great look. Let's see what happens at EVO. Let's see what happens at the next kind of event that's at that kind of caliber before we jump to any conclusions. And I feel like people in the FGC are going to be very quick to say, oh, America's free now, America's done. Japan is so much farther ahead. Korea's farther ahead. We'll see. Maybe, but we'll see.
Look. Japan got 6 of the top 8 at Stunfest. They got 6 of the top 8 in...
Well, America wasn't at Stunfest, were they?
Well, doesn't matter. They got 6 of the top 8 at Stunfest. They got 6 of the top 8 at DreamHack. They've got 6 of the top 8 at CEO. You know, Japan was supposed to be on even ground with everybody because they didn't get the arcade version. But guess what? Those players are coming in. They're taking all our cookies. They're rubbing all our faces in the ground, and we got to hold that.
And I'd like to say another thing about that. And this isn't defending America or anything. I'm just saying when people think about Japan, I don't know if they realize the histories of some of these players. And I challenge you to go and look up the Wikipedia results for Togeki SBO. And look at the fact that most of these guys were winning SBOs in 2005 and 6, 10 years ago.
For anybody who doesn't know, SBO is Super Battle Opera.
Super
Why don't you
Battle
tell them
Opera,
what it's about?
Super Battle Opera was the Japanese tournament. I mean, this was and notably it's single elimination, and always was, and sometimes one game. So this was a very hard tournament to be successful in. And if you go back to the 2004, 2005, 2006s, you're going to see Haitani, you're going to see Tokido, you're going to see Daigo, you're going to see Nuki, you're going to see pretty much every one of those players that was in top 8. You're even going to see Goichi, who didn't play Street Fighter because he played all those anime games. They were all multi-game players. They've been playing for 10, 11 years. These are people that are going to take time to beat. And obviously, we have a couple prodigies who are doing it pretty quickly on with, Knuckle Dew.
Having just started with
Street Fighter. Yeah, those are the ones doing the best, right? But, I mean, there's a lot to improve upon, and there's a lot to realize with how seriously these guys take the game and how seriously America's going to need to take it to overthrow them.
We have, as part of our Capcom Pro Tour recap, John bringing us some of his favorite highlights from the event. These are all Street Fighter V highlights. Obviously, we're doing a Capcom Pro Tour recap. I'm getting ahead of myself because Mike Ross is our guest. But why don't you kick us off with our first highlight? What are we going to be looking at here?
As soon as you guys put it up, I will tell you about it. if we have it. Okay, it's the German suplexes. Now, this was Infiltration versus Tokido, and as you're seeing on your screen right now, Infiltration gets Tokido with 4 throws in the corner in a row, and it actually got a 5th one right before this whole sequence, but it was interrupted with a little bit of a block string. It's cool to see this kind of a thing happen, sure, but what I want to kind of highlight here is this is Tokido. We just talked about how amazing this guy is, how he's arguably the best in the world right now, how he went on after this and just beat the crap out of Infiltration. And I want to kind of call attention to the mind game of Street Fighter V and how this whole throw attack, DP, rock, paper, scissors kind of thing no one escapes that. Nobody is above that. Even players like Tokido have to sit there and eat this kind of a situation. And I think it was James Chen commentating during this sequence, and he was saying, like, this is one of the hardest situations to be in because it's so simple. Is he going to throw again or is he going to hit me? But you get ahead of yourself. It's like when you're playing an intense game of rock, paper, scissors, and you're like, oh, I could go scissors, but what if he does rock? And you just, and such a simple situation as this can be one of the most stressful in the game, especially a game like Street Fighter V where you're worried about crush counters and how much potential there is in that kind of damage. So this was really great to look at, like I said, but it also highlights something that's special about this game, and it's fighting games in general, but Street Fighter V really plays off of this mind game of you got to pick your option and you got to stick with it. And I just thought that was really exemplified here.
There's no crouch techs in this game, right? Or throw
no,
techs?
if you crouch tech, you're gonna stand and throw, right?
Right.
Okay.
If you crouch, you're gonna stand and throw. The major throw option select is the jump throw, where you block for a frame or two on the ground, jump and tech. And what this does is block a meaty, tech a throw, or jump out of a late normal.
Oh, wow.
To beat that, you have to do a very specific timing. And when you see people meaty someone with heavy kick hurricane with Ryu, that's what they're trying to beat. Because the hurricane comes out a little slower and hits a little higher.
Okay.
So it'll actually hit them once they're jumping.
John?
Yeah.
Next highlight.
Next one.
Coming at you.
Mochi and Tokido? Poor Tokido, huh? So this one, again, this is about putting someone in a certain gear. And I think Street Fighter V is all about identifying what gear your opponent's in and choosing the counter to that. I mean, that's, again, across fighting games in general. But what you see here is a player like Tokido, who we know is incredibly aggressive. And he's out there and he's just rabid. He hits you and he hits you hard and he knows his counters and stuff. But here we have a situation where he's winning, and he's winning by a lot. He just needs a little bit of a touch. And right there you saw that DP. He doesn't do EX to close out the round, and it's only I think it's 20 damage difference. But if he had done EX there, he would have finished Momochi. He didn't do it, and then Momochi got this chance. The crowd gets really loud. You could hear the commentators saying, okay, everyone's thinking Momochi's in this, this comeback gear. And Tokido went into down back, I'm so scared. I'm only thinking about how Momochi could potentially bring this back. And Momochi throws him 6 times. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but he throws him a bunch. And then he could just smell Tokido and everything that he was going to do from a mile away. And this kind of highlights that mental break that you'll see. And it even happens to, again, the best in the world, people like Tokido. And so this is something that anyone that's trying to get better in the tournament scene can deal can be familiar with, and it's a huge obstacle to get over. I remember playing against specifically Alex Valle back at Wednesday Night Fights a couple of years ago, and I would be in similar situations where I was winning, and I just would go, okay, now he knows everything. He knows everything that I want to do. I just need to get that last hit, and everything that I do, he's going to counter. So I froze up, didn't do anything, ended up losing because of it. So what I want to take away from this is to not let yourself get into that one specific gear when the pressure gets put on. When you have these really high-stakes situations, everything's laying out in front of you. Don't be afraid to take it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I'm pretty sure that this was the moment that Donka decided he was dropping Vega and switching to Ken.
Playing Ken.
He told me that. Sorry to break your hearts, anybody out there who likes his Vega.
I think Ken's really good.
I think you're really good, though, Donka.
Aww, that's nice. That's really encouraging, John, for you to say that. Yes. Yes, John.
Banned from the chat. I'm getting capped like 6 times a day. This is tough, man.
John, let's get on with this. This is our longest highlight,
right.
And here you go.
And then, so I gotta give Tokido a little bit of props here after ragging on him.
A little bit.
This last one is actually the collection of just how he was able to turn things around. And this is one of the things that separates him as one of the best players in the world. It's no secret that he's lost to Infiltration multiple times, got second place. Infiltration has been his demon. And we go into the ending of CEO Grand Finals, and he's in loser's bracket. Not only does he have to beat his demon, but he has to beat him twice. And he absolutely does. It was kind of shaky at first, but he turned things around and was absolutely able to. I think the final spread was 6-1. Am I right? Against Infiltration here, and you see just play after play, he just zoned in, and everything he did was correct. And again, it's a matter of he figured out what gear Infiltration was in. He knew what Infiltration wanted to do, and he just countered it every single every single juncture. Yeah.
Why are parries so damn hype in this game?
Well, because they're so risky. They're not instant startup, and if you miss it, you're completely left wide open for a crush counter punish. And even if you do hit a parry, depending on what move you're parrying, you're not even at that great of an advantage. So I think why we celebrate and respect the parry so much is because if someone uses it, they've absolutely read what their opponent's doing. And like there's not much room for question of if it was that a big guess, you know. And someone that uses it as consistently and as effectively as Tokido, you got to say, man, you're up there at that next level. You're really good at this game, and you're really good at reading people.
It's definitely an almost game-changingly strong option for Ryu, is I think what you see at the end of the weekend, because for a move to be better than 3 frames, because it starts up in 3 frames, and for a move to not require a motion but have that strong of a punish is so unique in this game, because you don't get big hit confirm combos off of jabs. So I mean, that's just something to think about with the parry.
It was amazing. I just realized that I forgot to include the part where he parried the super animation. That was incredible. It's like, what the hell's happening?
It was unnecessary, but it was definitely sick.
It was awesome. Are you kidding me? And didn't he say, I think it was in one of his interviews, he said he did it because he knows the crowd loves it.
Yeah, I mean, he could have blocked it and gotten the exact same punish, but it was super sick.
All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the Capcom Pro Tour recap. But there was plenty of other cool stuff that happened at CEO. Of course, there was the reveal. I somehow also forgot to pull the trailer, but we all saw it. But before we get to that, let's just go through a couple other results. And that one, the one I want to get to, of course, is Mr. Sonic Fox himself. This kid is unstoppable, guys. And he did it against Scar, too, if I'm not mistaken.
He owns Scar's soul.
Damn. Did anybody watch this live?
I did. And it was... unfortunately, about what we expect at this point. I mean, we saw him end up picking Aaron Black because Scar had been beating his alien with his Sonya. But then the Aaron Black was a bit too much for him to handle, even with the sub-characters he pulled out.
Well, we won't spend too much time on this, but we do have a Sonic Fox interview coming up. We got him after he won. And again, that'll be coming out this week, so keep an eye out for that. The trailer, sure wish I'd pulled it. Really cool. People were losing their minds. We talked about how L.I. Joe damn near had a heart attack. Then there was that great picture. Another guy. I love shouting out these guys that are putting out good content. Tempest Rob, he's a photographer. Robert Paul, if I'm not mistaken. He got a picture of Pierre Balrog passed out with the vapors after they showed Balrog, that trailer.
No, I mean, seriously, if they can, I think the idea is hopefully that they progress like this with the next two characters and, kind of renege on what they've done so far.
Guys, what do you think about the fact that Ibuki and Balrog will be tourney legal at EVO? That to me sounds like it could be awesome for the audience, but terrible if you're trying to make a living doing this.
I'll be quick on it. It's basically exactly what you said. I think that I wouldn't have made that decision. I think it's questionable in some ways, but I also think people needed to be prepared for it, and I also think it's not a huge deal, and the fact that it's good for the spectators might be what's good for the players in the long run. So, it kind of sucks, but 2 weeks is enough to figure out what they do, and hopefully that, when in combination with the fact that you've been probably playing your character for 3-4 months now, is enough to beat someone playing that character for 2 weeks. That said, it was definitely an on-the-edge decision that I understandably some people aren't happy with, but
Sure.
I wouldn't cry a river over it.
Chris T apparently is very upset about this if you're following him on Twitter. Our boy Logan Sama, who was on the show last week, has already blown him up for it.
Yeah, Chris is pissed.
But guys like PR Rog and F-Champ seem to be extremely excited about it and think that that Balrog is a great character and they're looking forward to seeing it.
Well, but think of the other side of the coin. You're up there, it's grand finals. You have this whole cast of characters in the character select screen, and we go, but not those guys. You can't pick those guys, and it's just it's kind of a bad look.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, the rule was 2 weeks, right? And so you have to make that call. It's not the most ideal situation, but it's what we have to work with. I would probably do it this way. It's not perfect, of course not, but I think it's better than saying, here they are, but you can't touch them for EVO. Don't select those guys. It's like, nah, it's too messy.
Here's where I come from on this. Last year, when I went to Combo Breaker, I got in on Thursday, and I sat in on the meeting that they had for the Mortal Kombat X tournament. Because if you remember, there was a glitch with Kung Lao that came out like a day or two before the tournament, where if you did something with his hat, you got infinite meter, basically. And they had to figure out a way. This was after everyone had already paid, after already was coming to the tournament. You had to balance trying to keep that glitch from happening against the people who want to play Kung Lao, who legitimately could play the character that it impacted, and not screw that. Say, hey, you spent hundreds of dollars on airfare and hotel, but you can't enter the tournament with your character. Too bad. Screw you. I'm afraid of that situation happening again. That there's the possibility that something will be broken with either Ibuki or with Balrog, and they'll have to make that decision of either pissing off people who want to play those characters who have already paid, or people who will have to play against those characters and have already paid. It's a lose-lose situation.
And we've seen EVO react horribly in these situations, like they did with Street Fighter Cross Tekken the first year it was in tournament. And because there was a glitch where Rolento froze the game if he threw an air knife, they reverted 2 versions back to a completely objectively awful version of the game where I'm just super salty about it.
But you were saying earlier, or before the show, that Street Fighter V to date doesn't have broken stuff in it.
We have not seen anything in Street Fighter. We saw a Vega glitch where if he throws a rose in a very specific direction, he flies away. But to be honest, I don't think we found anything recreatably bad, so I think the chances are low. But as Steve said, it's definitely possible, and that's part of why I probably would have banned them. But as I said, it's a very on-the-fence thing, and I was totally okay with either way.
Gentlemen, we have an interview with Mike Ross to get to. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with? John, what are you going to leave us with? What's
I
your
wanted to
takeaway,
say something witty and mean towards Mike, but I can't. Mike Ross, not Donka, but I can't think of anything. So if you think of something while you're talking to him, say it to him.
Maybe next time, John. Steve, what do you got, buddy?
I want to just bring this up because I want to make sure that we talk about it next week. But the CEO experience, it was on the Street Fighter side of things, pretty good, from the spectacle side at least. From the execution side, it wasn't the masterpiece that CEO usually was. And on the Smash side, this was absolutely the case. You know, they had their finals for Melee end at almost 1 a.m. So
I think Street Fighter V ended not far before that either.
no, that ended about midnight on Sunday. You know, like I said last week, because of the issue between CEO and Final Round, if everything wasn't perfect, we were going to hear about it. And guess what? Everything wasn't perfect.
Yeah, and as I said, exactly as Steve said, the execution of the appearance of the tournament was perfect. It ran close enough to on time to be acceptable given the situation, but I think that you need to have a set time for the last finals to start. And whether that means changing things about previous tournaments, I don't know. But it's hard for the players to play at midnight. It's hard for the spectators to watch at midnight. There are issues with that happening. Mm-hmm. But it was a great tournament.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We can talk about this till the cows come home, but this is a 1 hour and a half long show, and we're hitting it.
Oh,
Steve,
and casual. It should be more casual stations.
More casual stations. I was going to ask you about this right now. Steve, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
John, as always, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that, and again, I brought it up because I follow whatever Fubar tweets about, and he was saying, and you had talked about, there was a buzz, right? A Combo Breaker, they had a ton of casual setups for the entirety of the weekend.
I know not everyone can pull that off. I know not everyone can get a 24/7 venue, but personally, and I think a lot of, if not most people feel the same way, if you have to drop a couple games from your tournament in order to have the space to have casual stations, I think it's better overall.
So one of the complaints was, and I'm not sure where I fall on what side of it, but they had Jabali Land, if you were there, which was like, you know, even in the Disneyland font, and they had a ton of arcades in there. A lot of people were having a lot of fun in that room, including,
yeah, I think that's fine.
But the idea being, some people were saying, you know, you should have used that room for casual setups.
I don't know if there's a formula where you say drop this, add that, drop that, add this, but one very important thing for a lot of people when they decide to travel to a tournament, myself included, especially being in an area that's not as dominant and as big as wealth of Street Fighter players as the East or West Coast, is how much better you can get at that tournament. And a lot of that is sitting there grinding casuals. And in a place like Orlando where it's so hot to walk outside, you don't necessarily want to walking everywhere around to get to hotel rooms to do that because, yet again, they weren't all inside. Mm-hmm. It's nice to have those stations there to get better at the game, to warm up for the game, etc. But overall, it was a wonderful experience.
I believe we are now joined by Mike Ross. It doesn't look like we have a video feed of him, but look at that handsome smile.
Oh.
Mike, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? I'm sorry. Like, I'm actually trying to get my webcam working. Yeah, I'm failing.
No, there's got to be something going on here, Mike. The last time you were on the show, you did Skype from your phone, and it was spotty. Now we don't have a webcam. Are you trying to just, you know, not give us the full Mike Ross effect?
Is this a Capcom Pro Talk, like, siege on the Daily Dot?
I think that might be it. I think that's what's happening here.
You guys, I'm actually disappointed because I had a surprise too. I wanted to show you, and I don't have my webcam, so it's just like this is really upsetting me right now.
Well, you know, if you hadn't said that, we wouldn't know. Now I'm more upset.
You don't have it at all?
I don't have a webcam, but I did have, you know, I know how your guys' show works. I've seen it, you know. You guys, there's a segment, I think, where, you know, sometimes you guys have your guests play against Donkey, you know, so I was a bit worried, and I didn't think I could personally pull it off on my own, so I kind of had that was here.
So he got a coach. So I'm here to coach Mike.
Oh my
shit.
God.
Flo, you're on there, buddy?
I'm sorry, he's just sitting in the background here, you know, but I wanted to, you guys can't see him now because I don't have a webcam, so sorry about that.
Dang.
But I promise it's him. It wasn't a sound.
I mean, who can I call? I need to call someone up right now.
Yeah, get
Or maybe
Florida
I'd rather just probably coach someone, in fact.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch me play, so don't bring that up. But, Mike, very important question, and now that Flo's there, maybe you can answer it. It's a question we get in our chat weekly. Is there a Capcom Pro Talk tonight?
Yes. One of the things though is that I need to leave at like 5 to get there in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, we're gonna have a CPT tonight. It might start 5 minutes late, but we definitely have one. We're gonna have Balrog on there. Combo Fiend will be there as well. Hopefully he'll do a better performance than he did when he demonstrated a Buki. So yeah, no, it should be a lot of fun.
I'm sure our chat is very excited that your show is on tonight.
I hope so. Thank you. I'll see that.
We'll be watching as well. Let's talk CEO for a second, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of touching on it earlier, but the question I want to put to you is the balance between putting on a world-class tournament and making it a destination to be entertained at. And of course, this year we had Kenny Omega, and then the surprise of Xavier Woods and all that entailed, and that was certainly a lot of fun. You got to be a part of that in some of the commentary chair. Why don't you tell us your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, that's awesome. It's obviously a natural fit, right? When you considering Jabali's love for professional wrestling, so having Kenny and Xavier there do that at CEO was just a natural fit. And do it. For me, doing commentary on that, it's like, I don't know, it's like the coolest thing ever, right? Everybody kind of grew up watching wrestling, so getting a chance to kind of give back and, take them into our world is super cool.
And I think they both surprised everyone with how good they were, and I don't want to put one above the other, but especially Kenny was doing very real combos and very real setups.
Kenny and I got a chance to play like 40 games. And man, he's legit good. I'm like super happy to say that, not just like he's good enough to like beat somebody else who's busy out there and in their own entertainment world. But like Kenny's like actually like legit. Like this dude, as we saw, puts people in the losers bracket. He ruined dreams.
That's right. And again, keep plugging our interviews here. We did get one with Kenny, and Steve asked him, who, like, you guys are coming into the FGC and, dabbling in our community, who from our community could go into the wrestling world, and without hesitation, he said Mike Ross. Mike Ross is perfect for it. This, that, and the other. He wouldn't stop talking about Mike Ross. How do you feel about that?
It's awesome. It is awesome. I mean, but like I said, I mean, I think it goes for like any of us. We all, or at least I think a majority of us watched it growing up. So some of us, we adopt a lot of their personas and what, just what we do, even with the fighting game stuff, even just the way we do commentary. So I think that's awesome. I'm freaking honored. And if I had the size, I would probably pursue it.
You got to get some gains, man.
Working on those gains.
Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but you obviously work for Twitch and more specifically on the esports team. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So clearly I would imagine you have your eye on esports happening all across Twitch. My question is, how is the FGC doing? What's in your opinion, the health of the scene?
I think we're the tortoise and the hare. Compared to like a lot of the other games out there, such as League of Legends, Counter-Strike, all those games are doing great. They are, they just catapulted immediately, like when they came out around the viewership. Let me rephrase that because we know Counter-Strike's been around forever.
Sure. But CSGO certainly has had, astronomical growth in recent years. Yeah.
Like with fighting games, I mean, we're the ones still moving at our pace, and we always have moved at our pace. Years ago, people, when esports was talking about coming into the scene, fighting game, people were just like, no, we can't have this. I mean, this was like years back. And I mean, you look at where we're at now, it's like, yeah, it's here, but we're still doing it our way. Just looking at events like CEO, the professionalism has like upped in terms of the broadcast and all that. But it still has that element that you just won't get anywhere else. And in terms on the business end, I think we're going to be just fine because look at Filipino Champ, for example, recently getting picked up by, Bud Light Esports, our Bud Light All-Stars campaign, what they're doing. People aren't realizing what that does is they are in their own industry. They are getting into gaming. They have picked fighting games as part of the group that they want to get into. Their competitors are not going to sit on their butt and look at that and say, oh, that's cute. They want to make sure that they get their name out there too. So this opens up the doors for a lot of other companies that want to start getting in and supporting and backing fighting game stuff. So I think we're actually in a very good situation.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because there was some backlash about that, of course. Capcom came out and said they were banning certain things, including adult entertainment, adult beverages. And then you see this campaign go down, which makes perfect sense. You know, nobody says they can't do that.
Right.
But then on the stream, he's wearing his cap that says Bud Light All-Stars. I'm going to pull up a picture here in a second while you respond to that. Does that seem... Again, we talked to Filipino Man, and he says that's not fair. You know, that's not fair. They're not talking to my manager and seeing what we're all about, but it sounds like they're willing to talk to the Bud Light guys and see what they're all about. Is that fair? I mean, it seems like it's healthy for the scene. Everybody wants Bud Light to come in. I don't think. I think if you took the temperature of the room, nobody really cared that Team YP was sponsoring a player. Of course, the people in charge of making those decisions probably had an issue with it.
Yeah.
Where do we stand?
I mean, wait. So he's complaining that Ryan wore a cap on stream?
No, not specifically. I think his concern was that, you know, I can't wear my jersey, I can't have my tag on the stream, yet here's F-Champ wearing the Bud Light cap, for example, and clearly promoting Bud Light.
Yeah. I mean, you know, at the same time, I'm pretty sure Filipino Man won a match and then held up his joystick in front of the stream, which had Team YP and KC-Tron like all over it. So he did his promotions as well. Me personally, like I have a skewed stance and positioning how I personally feel about it. Putting me in the hot seat. I like it when you do that.
I'm sorry, and I promised you I wouldn't do that, dude. But you know, you brought it up. You brought it up.
Favorite seat to sit on. So I don't know, like. I just think we're all too sensitive right now.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of that. I think you're right. I think that's basically where we're at. To take you out of the hot seat, because I don't think, you know, we're not the ones to answer it really, right? It would be Capcom to answer it, so there's no point in putting you in that hot seat. My gut tells me that we're just writing out these first bumpy steps of, you know, getting esports, getting things legit, and these will probably shake out sooner rather than later. Would that be fair?
I mean, yeah. I just want us to be able to just rock whatever. Just as long as it makes sense. As long as it makes sense, we should be able to support it. I personally don't think there's anything too wrong with either brand. There's nothing wrong with the brands. Do they have a spot in what we're doing? I think one of them does.
Which one are you talking about? Bud Light? What did I miss? You know, and I would love to hear from Capcom on this. You know, I think Hans specifically on a Reddit thread said, yes, I was the one that... we talked to F-Champ. We'd have to bring him on the show so that he could talk about it himself. But, yeah, it went through.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm sorry, I just saw the chat and they don't know which one I'm talking about. I'm getting crucified.
Well, speaking of CEO, we already mentioned the obviously wrestling antics. How did you feel as someone who obviously at Twitch has a vested interest in how well this game does about the reveal trailer?
Oh man, that was awesome. He knocked it out of the park on that one.
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody for the most part was kind of expecting Balrog as the reveal trailer since they were kind of talking about him. They showed him at E3. You know, they had a little playable section in the story mode. But nobody saw Jurian coming. And if you guys were just in that building, hearing the people erupt like that was awesome.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
So, you know, a lot of people, you know, may have had concerns, blah, 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 about the game and whatnot. And then they dropped that trailer and then you almost saw nothing but like positive feedback from people. So, you know, who knows?
You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like all is forgiven, Capcom, because it was an exciting top 8 and we got some, or maybe not, right? I can't speak for everybody, but it really seems like we did turn that corner of people being really just looking for something to be upset with, the whole 8 frames thing or, you know, the Zenny thing, and surely there's still more to be answered to on that. But it's like, all right, we're all back.
And
Right.
I have another question related to that specifically, which is just, as someone, you specifically, who was related very strongly with the early growth of Street Fighter 4, doing well in tournaments, being around, talking about it.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of discussion nowadays about how whether Street Fighter 5 has launched worse or better than Street Fighter 4. Whether or not people complained about 4 when it came out, whether or not people thought it was going to be this horrible game.
Right.
How do you feel the reception was towards 4 and towards 5 now, and do you think we'll be okay?
To answer that first is yes, I know it'll be okay. That's something I don't worry about. Just because as a community, people will just keep playing and supporting the game. Comparing 4 to 5's release, when 4 came out, to me, like when I played it and when I first touched it, I was like, oh well, this, I guess I'm a Street Fighter scrub. I think this is like the best game ever, And then meanwhile, like a lot of the Third Strike people would look down at me and say, like, oh well, this game sucks. It's for scrubs. Blah blah blah. It's not a real Street Fighter game. You have no idea what real skill is, and all of that stuff. They went ham, right? But our community was smaller too then. Now with Street Fighter 5 coming out, it's the same thing happening. And it just sounds louder because our community's grown that much bigger. But it's like literally the same thing happening all over again. And if they do a Street Fighter 6, all the Street Fighter 5 people that love this game are going to just bash those guys the same way. It's a never-ending cycle.
It's funny. That's what I heard a lot. This is history repeating itself.
And
Right.
I just wanted someone to say it out loud so people could remember. So that was kind of, a fluff question there. But
Yeah, Marvel 2, Marvel 3. Same thing.
Hey,
but there's plenty of Marvel 3 players, and they're loving it. But, the Marvel 2 community, myself included.
yeah, I was going to say, someone's included in
I would throw
that.
my name in there. You know how I feel about Marvel 3.
Mike, I'm glad you bring that up. And you alluded to the fact that this guy's been helping people get into the community, but you've also been covering it for a long time, and that's brought you all the way to Twitch. But I found this video from, you won't be able to hear it, audience, I'm sorry, but you can go look this up.
Oh.
This is Dark Prince, if I'm not mistaken. This is an old
This is my
interview.
favorite video on YouTube, by the way. but
You
keep going.
did this interview almost 10 years ago?
Yeah, man.
Mike Chaos, bringing the chaos.
Mike, why don't you transport us back to 9+ years ago when you're doing this interview? What was the state of the FGC then?
So basically, it was just us. Like what you see is it was just us. That's the community, like right there. It was about that size in several different cities around the world. But how this specific video came up, what was that, 2007? Is it 2007? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
So at the time, as being a part of it for several years, and keep in mind, in my mind, I will always see myself as coming in as a late bloomer. I'm new school FGC in my mind. I came in 2001, so there were already OGs before me that I had to look up and respect to. And one of them's actually sitting in this room. Like, not to stroke his ego, but it's true.
Combo Fiend's there?
Nice. Nice. Well done. Anyways, I'll tell you later, Flo. They just said a nice compliment about you. So basically, like, when, I've been in this scene for years. I wanted to be the best in Marvel 2. Who didn't? Everybody wanted to be number one in whatever game they were playing. Or number 2. Yeah, I'm sorry. Justin had number 1. Only Sanford wanted to get number 1. Yeah, but like, it was an era. I mean, it was just a community, and I'm looking at all of this around, and I started to see a divide between the community, like that I was hanging out with, and then some of my friends, that I grew up with, like my personal friends. I ended up spending more time, like, hanging out at the arcade, playing, getting better. And I thought it was because this was the coolest thing in the world. And I wanted to show my friends that, I wanted to show and introduce them this community. I'd always been interested in video and all that. And at the time I was in college and I was majoring in TV film. And my brother and I had actually invested in a camera. So what we did was I said, screw it. let me put this to work. Let me do what I do just to have fun. but I'm just going to start doing it on the people that I know. And I want to do this so I can show the other people that have no idea what we do. So that's what I did. I just put that together, and yeah, I'm still trying to do that to this day.
Yeah, it feels that way. What a career, man. And now you're at Twitch, and I feel like we're all in good hands. I've seen you doing your thing. Of course, Capcom Pro Talk is always entertaining. But not only that, everything you've put up. Sorry, I'm getting a little too mushy here, but I'm a big fan of Mike Ross.
Thank you, man.
Mike, I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Okay, please. I love curveballs.
I saw this on your Facebook page, and I think it was a post from your brother, and it's a quote. And I believe the quote says, "If we do not live to see it, dying knowing that we sowed the seeds for the next generation to nurture and harvest." And that quote is attributed to Joyce Elaine Ross.
Yep.
Can you tell me what that means to you?
Wow, that is a curveball, man. Okay. Yeah, we can talk. You want to get the real answers out of me, don't you? Jesus Christ, you're good at what you do. So, I'm in this scene. I'm in this community. I don't care to really do anything else. I don't need to do this for money. But what I do want to see is this community blow up. And I feel like I have no problem, like, literally dying trying. Mm-hmm. I had that kind of mentality just instilled upon me just from teachings like that from my mom. I mean, she wrote a bunch of quotes. My brother went through and read every single quote she's ever written. Like, she's had journals for, like, over the past, 30 years or something. And he went through, that's what he's, like, been dedicating his time to, and he's just pulling them out. So it's interesting that you came across that. But, yeah, man.
I mean, I saw it a while ago, and it struck me. Again, you guys can roast me in the chat for being so mushy about it, but I saw it, and I'm like, I read it, and I thought, I bet you Mike has obviously internalized this, and you can tell by his work ethic and what he's put out and what he continues to do, and when I've met you, how you act towards me and other people I've seen you interact with. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I think it, if I'm right, encapsulates the kind of guy you are.
Thank you, man. Well, those words are inscribed in my well-being, so yeah.
And on that note, let's bring it back to reality. Do you have time to get a set in with Mike, the other Mike?
Absolutely. This is totally worth it. Totally worth it. Again, I apologize.
If you need to go, honestly, we can bring you on.
Oh, wait, yeah, no. If you actually do need to get Capcom Pro Talk, heaven forbid we keep you from Capcom Pro Talk.
You don't understand. This is important.
And we won't be able to tell if it's him or Flo playing, by the way.
Okay, that's true. That is true, but...
Or maybe we will, like if he loses 4 times in a row or something.
All right, hold on. I'm booting it up. Are you guys like all booted up and everything?
We're in there.
We're booted up. I think I've got your tag in here, so I'll send you an invite.
Okay.
Guys, give me a 1 if you think that Mike will win, and give me a 2 if you think Mike will win.
Man, this is tough.
Well done. I'll tell you this much, if it helps. When I told Flo, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing daily diet." He's like, "Oh, you were gonna get bodied by Mike."
Dude, he's been playing Overwatch, Mike. He's washed up, dude.
I'm really gonna body Mike.
Okay. Hey, send the invite, man. Let's
No, I've got no idea. I'm gonna. And this isn't even a joke. I really hate Vega versus Laura.
He was telling us this earlier, Mike.
I've gotten bodied by Wolf Crone, and I've gotten bodied by Seth Olol out of Michigan.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Well, then that gives me confidence because I have no confidence against Vega. But if you struggle against Laura, then I need that. I need that upper hand.
Here comes the invite.
All right, cool. I see it.
And most of that is because if you watch a lot of the top players play against Laura, you see what they do on Reaction EX Fireball is they V-reversal. Because that move is too scary. It's +3, they're right in your face. Vega can't do that. He flips backwards into the Fireball and dies. So I kind of just have to hold a lot of what you do.
Mike.
And for me, I don't like holding anything.
Before you start this, let's get on the same page, Mike. How many are we doing? Is this a best of 3?
We'll let him go. We'll do a best. We'll do first to 3. First
Mike,
to 3.
what do you got time
it's always
for?
like first to 3.
Yeah, we can do. Let's do Yeah, let's be safe. Let's do first to 3.
First to 3. All right.
I'm gonna play the first game as Guile because I like
Yes.
that better. And if I get bodied, I'm gonna switch
Okay.
to Vega.
Okay.
Fair enough.
You're going straight Laura? Don't tell me. I mean, obviously there would be no way. But what if some kind of by the powers of Capcom?
He's gonna happen to go Karen and Vega just because he just picked those characters up.
There we go. There's Guile. Gulitos. I had a buddy come home from a party at Fantasyland Skate Center in McAllen, Texas. I was still maybe in first grade or somewhere even around there. And he's like, guys, there's this cool new fighting game at the roller rink. And there's this guy that throws sonic booms and his name is Gulio.
Gulio?
And I called him Gulio thinking that was his name for longer than I cared to admit.
I thought he was Guile when I was a kid. I've heard Gilly, Guile, now Gulio.
Gile. Gael.
Gael. That's the new.
There you go. All right, here we go. Let me do some quick work on you, man. You know, just playing some Street Fighter.
I'll be reading from the chat here.
Ooh.
Hey guys, in the chat, you have very limited time, but I totally forgot that the phone lines are open, and Ian Barker has been waiting.
Wait, am I playing a bot?
No, I'm looking right at him. He's here, and he's playing IRL. How many turbos will he get, Mike?
Oh my
If
God.
Donko wins this, how many turbos does he get?
Hold up.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, I'm nice. I'm sorry. I'm actually nice. I'm actually really nice. Oh my gosh.
How did that happen?
I hope they saw that.
I hear some coaching.
There's no coaching, I promise.
I heard some coaching.
There's no coaching. Uh-oh.
I'm just gonna try to pronounce the way people are spelling your name in the chat. We got Michuel Rosintion. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh my god.
Miguel, got some Miguels. Come on, Mike. Do what you did to.
Trying.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Donka.
Oh, the other one.
Donka.
All
okay,
right.
Donka, do to Mike what you did to Flash.
What did he do?
He got him in the boom loops
Hands on flash?
with Guile. We got Meek Rose. We got Marco Rubio. We got Miguel Russ. Mika Ross.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I dropped the combo. Alright, here's the
Overwatch.
punch.
Overwatch.
Don't meet him.
Oh man, how am I gonna
Oh
pronounce
no, I
these?
should have meted properly. Dash up and throw. Oh. I'm dead.
There we go.
Oh man.
Oh no, I couldn't finish.
I think it's pretty much done, Mike.
Oh, that was such. I knew he was gonna. Oh my god.
It's those 8 frames. The 8 frames of Overwatch.
Yes. Yay.
All right, how about we read some Mike Ross variations on your name? Mikhail
I
Petrovich
think the
Rusev.
Guile would be free from here on, but I don't know if I can afford to try.
That's a tough one to do, eh? You have some stuff to think about. You have some stuff to think about.
I'm gonna pick one Vega.
Okay.
Oh god, I'm gonna get bodied, aren't I?
It's likely.
Might happen.
Yeah, it's likely.
Because and this is my excuse of the week.
Oh,
As
God.
soon as I got home from CEO, I practiced Ken.
Well, then where's the Ken?
Oh, wow.
I am not ready.
Mike, as in Mike Ross, how do you feel about this guy's Gala just so far? If you can just give us your impression.
From what I've played, he has a lot of potential.
The character, right? Not necessarily Donka.
Is there a worse thing to be told? I don't know if anyone's ever garnered like a positive out of being told they have potential. It's like, well, you fucking suck, but
We got Maquel Rossini. We got Michael Peter Roston.
You know, I want to go by Mike Schiller, and I have since like the second day I was in the FGC because I hate being called Donka.
What?
But I can't be Mike anymore because of this guy.
Yeah.
Because if someone says Mike,
Donka, as a Mike, you have potential.
As a Mike.
I think you're in for it, Mike, because Donka has a good Vega.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
I'm gonna mash all day.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he has a Vega. He has a Vega. Put that up. It's just one game.
Do you have any other characters with potential, Mike?
Any other characters with potential?
You're Donka for the rest of the set. I'm talking to Mike.
Oh my god.
Hold on, my Laura's not done yet.
We got Mech Roswell, Mike Boss. Anybody ever call you Mike Boss?
Oh my god, what?
Oh my!
That is not what I did, but it worked, so it's perfect.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, people say you should call yourself Mike Donka Ross.
Mike Donka Ross.
What do you think? Take his name too.
Oh, nice.
Bye,
Nice
Sensei
job,
Pile
Anti-air.
Driver.
Oh no. Oh.
Oh, I messed up.
Oh! I'll take it.
That grab goes through that EX. What is it? That
Yeah,
charge
you can
bolt?
grab armor in
My
this
soul
game.
is broken right now. I choked. I started to feel the pressure.
That's 1-to-1.
Okay, so this is gonna
1-to-1.
get cleaner here and better. This is my current promise.
Okay. That was good. That was clean. That was clean.
Okay, so it's 1-1.
1-1. Let's try that again. This is,
I'm jealous because you have a costume for your character. You know, I've never
Oh, yeah.
unlocked a costume in this game.
That's just the color, not a costume.
Well, whatever. Ooh.
oh, come on.
All right, guys, we're 1-to-1. In the chat, give me a 1 if you're liking Mike's Vega. I'm sorry, Donka's Vega. Give me a 2 if you're liking Mike's Laura.
Oh, my dick!
Oh, the ankles.
Oh,
You know,
let
are
me
you
get out of
like
the corner.
I have noticed neither of us can talk while we play, and that some people are amazing at it.
Now we're playing serious.
Oh no. Okay, I'm backdashing. Oh no. That's a hard read too.
We're getting equal amounts of 1s and 2s here, guy. Mike, do you think that Laura is a bonita?
Yes.
That was a yell response. Like, no, Mike's air to airs are pretty good, and I cannot anti-air him at all.
Back in the corner. Get in there, Mike. Donka.
Oh, the shimmy was there, but not the.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh! Ah! Stop! I'm dead. I'm not. Why didn't you try to neutral jump right there? Didn't you expect me to wake up alter or grab or something?
I don't think you have it in you, dude.
Oh my goodness. Mike, your response.
You don't think I have the courage to do it?
I don't think you have the courage anymore. I think you've lost it from being out of the game too. Oh, Mike's Karen's coming out? Do I have to press end battle so Mike can play as
You
Karen?
see the potential in my Karen?
Do we need to see Mike's Karen come out?
We're getting
My
calls in the
Karen have a lot
chat.
of potential.
We're getting calls in the
see it.
chat.
If you lose this one, I can play your Karen.
Okay. At least one game, right? Oh!
Oh! Jump.
No.
You're gonna jump here.
No. I'm a good player. Oh, you didn't know what side.
We're already getting in the chat. Congratulate Donka on his new Twitch Turbo. Surely you can't allow that, Mike.
No. Relax. Oops.
Oh fuck. Oh no.
He's getting in there.
I hear the stick getting louder. Oh wow.
Oh, that was
Something.
cute.
This car I'm gonna anti-air you.
Okay. Sorry.
Aod Snarf wants to know, Mike, what did it do?
I'll tell you what, I can't do anything right now. Alright. Oh!
Mike, and the worst part is that Donka was saying that Laura destroys Vega, man.
Yeah, he's crazy.
There you go. I've been waiting for one of those.
Oh no, he's finally grabbing me.
Uh-oh.
He's not gonna do it again. Yeah, I know. Oh my god, I'm dead.
Alright,
okay.
alright.
I'm gonna play footsies this game, you know?
Alright, let's play some more Street Fighter.
I thought he would never grab me during a mix-up situation, but he
You know-
finally did it. Oh, I cannot get that heavy kick off at all. We're gonna blame Efren. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Is that 2-2?
That
Are we at 2-2
is
right now?
2-2.
Okay.
That is 2-2.
2-2. Okay.
Hey, Mike, while I have you here in between matches, we have
Yes.
a question from Otaku Crash. I think I'm reading that right. Can you ask Mike who he thinks will win Evo?
I have no idea anymore. I have no idea anymore. I had Justin pegged.
Mm-hmm.
His performance as CEO was a bit lackluster. Wasn't happy to see that, but you know. Hold on. Let me get this work real quick.
No, keep talking.
Yeah, no. No more questions. Was there even a guy that asked that?
Oh no. Oh no!
What happened?
That was my round and Flo pulled the router.
Flo.
Flo pulled the
Flo,
router.
why would you do that, man?
Flo didn't pull it. He didn't.
Flo
What do-
pulled
what
it
do
by
we do?
Mike's request. Or does Mike have it by his foot?
What do we do?
We do it again?
Wait, Mike, do you have time?
No.
Sorry. We're going to have to leave it 2-2, guys. It's going to have to be 2-2. Mike?
I hope I don't start winning the first round again. You know, that's a strat online. You have to make every game close so they don't disconnect.
All right.
Because if you stun them, they're gone.
Yes.
If you stun them, they're gone.
I actually have to go. I really do have to go right now.
Hey, Mike, thank you for being on the
Yes.
show. Who's going to be on
Thank
your
you
show?
guys so much.
You're going to have Balrog on the show tonight?
Yes, I will have Balrog. It's hopefully maybe we'll start at like 7:05. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. and have a good rest of your show.
We'll see you at Evo, man. Thanks.
Later, man.
Mike.
You can tell someone gave him that call that he had to be there right now.
Mike, what happened, man? You said Vega beats Laura Free.
No, I think that Laura does very well.
I'm sorry, yes, the other way
I
around.
think Laura does very well versus Vega. Flash seems to think the same thing. We've talked about it before. But a lot of that involves specific matchup things. So I think if you haven't practiced versus it and played it a lot, it actually goes the other way, just because Vega does beat Laura so badly in footsies.
All right. That brings us to the end of the show.
And I'll just do my one last rant, I guess.
Let's hear it.
Which isn't a rant. It's just more of a discussion on why I think Japan's better right now, outside of the fact that they've been playing fighting games for longer. And I think that is redefining what you see as a setup. When most people think of what a setup is in a fighting game or what a combo is in a fighting game, they go, oh, when I throw this guy in the corner, I dash, whiff a jab, and then I get a meaty. Setups and situations go much further than that. If you hit someone with an uncancelable Vega down medium punch in footsies, how plus are you, and what's the next move you're going to press, and what button does it beat? Those people do that. And I know they do that because I watched them do it in training mode. I watched as Daigo sat there and after Ryu's standing medium kick saw if his sweep would beat Nakali's sweep or if it wouldn't reach in time.
Okay.
Stuff such as that. These very small, very specific situations that aren't as common necessarily as a combo. Knowing exactly what yours beats and what it doesn't is the difference between getting that crush counter knockdown after your stand medium kick or getting DP'd or trying to sweep and getting swept back. And situations like that are the things that American players, and not all American players, there are definitely some who know this stuff, have issues with. And I think that's the kind of thing that we all need to improve upon.
You got 2 weeks.
You got exactly 2 weeks, guys. Press your uncancelable buttons versus every character and see who you can beat versus who. And then write it down. Because seriously, you'll forget it if you don't. And if you even write it down once, I know your teachers have said this before, you'll remember the next time, oh, this is what I can press after this button.
That's what
versus
Tokido
this
was doing.
character.
That's what I saw him doing then.
He
was writing it
definitely
down.
was doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, think about that.
Guys, thank you very much for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We work hard to produce a good show for you every week. We've been doing it for a damn near year. Can you believe that, Mike?
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time, man.
It's
and we've
been a long
missed
time.
like 1 week.
Yeah, I think it was around Christmas. We put the VOD up on YouTube. If you guys could leave a comment there, we'd appreciate it. Let us know how you think we're doing. And we'll see you here next week. No, I don't think there's any CPT events, but we'll still be talking.
Sure.
Bye, guys.